bewildered by it, but he plays it so perfectly. It really suits how he plays as well. But looking over to the side of Kagendra, they go in for the Angela, so wave clear is not going to be a problem for them. And obviously, as you say, the Loong, but also taking the Zhongfei from of Maynard as well. And obviously, Dolia goes down. They ban out their own Maynard's other picks. So it's going to be really interesting to see what they go for into that support lane. Is it going to be a Liam Po? Will we see Sun Bin come through?
Yeah, for sure. We'll have to wait and see as the Ming actually gets banned away. We've already seen today that Lady Sun and Ming is a very scary combo to deal with, but VKS prioritizing that mid lane pick, prioritizing Lady Shen instead, probably knowing that it's going to get banned as well. Guan Yu as well. I mean, we've seen it a lot. It's a very, very strong pick over in the HoK BR. We have seen it a few times for Niab on that top side, so it's going to be banned away. One of the pocket picks really for the Brazil region, but that's going to be banned away. So the likes of the Liam Po are opened if Maynard does want to go for that tank route. As you mentioned before, the Sun Bin as well. We'll have to see what Kagendra picked first, but they prioritize the Angela instead to make sure that the mid laners don't get banned away.
Yes, and focusing the Orgrin, I think, on the side of VKS is probably a good call, because I think Kagendra would actually pick that up again. We've already saw it with them once, paired with the Loong as well. But they do pick up the Dharma, so going against what 90 drafted against them, and arguably probably the best performance on the side of Team Vitality when they were playing against Kagendra was 90 on the Dharma. But that targeted ban on the Guan Yu for Niap, that shows you that Kagendra's actually done some studying, not only onto VKS and not only onto Team Secret. It really shows that there is a lot going on behind the scenes for this Indonesian team. And as I was saying, that Sun Bin has been highlighted, and oh, we're getting the Shuang Yu come through, which is a Brazilian pick. We haven't seen this for a while. This normally takes place in HoK BR, but never on the global esports scene. I'm very excited this pick for Niap. This is brutal.
A really, really strong pick, as you mentioned, a pocket pick over in HoK. We was mentioned about the Guan Yu. They banned away the Guan Yu. They were like, okay, we're not going to let you pick the pocket pick. And VKS is like, hey, buddy, I have two pockets. I have something else up my sleeve. With that Zhong Yu as well, going to be a very, very strong, more of a tankier hero as well, being played towards the top side, which we normally see a lot of these bruisers played towards the top side. So it's going to be really interesting to see how they adapt with this kind of tankier style in that top side. That's going to be their kind of tank. Well, they do have Hino as well, which, as we know in the jungle, can also play tank. So I mean, this is going to be a super exciting game. First time, I believe, this tournament, from what we know, that we've seen Zhang Yu. But as you mentioned, pick the VKS have already picked up a few times.
Yeah, it's a great hero, to be honest, because one of his skills, he can basically barge you around. So if you're thinking you are safe in that turret, he can literally come from behind, barge you out of it. He has a great zoning ultimate as well, just literally places where he's going to literally swing his sword onto the ground, and you better hope that you can make your way out of it. But pair that with Sunbin Silence from her time-lapse skill, I think it could be pretty deadly. And also having Danny on the high note as well is going to be super interesting. But it's at that point in the standings, VKS have to pull these kind of things out.
Yep. Just to remind everyone of the stakes of this game, Kagendra at the moment sitting at 1 and 2. That surprise victory against Team Vitality that we saw earlier today. VIVO KEYD sitting at 1 and 3, the big surprise factor at the moment in the EWC, and this is such an important game for both of these two sides. If Kagendra can bring out another surprise here, because I think a lot of people would go into this and say that VIVO KEYD are probably the favorites, but with them also losing to Vitality, like, everyone's beating each other in this group, which I think is super crazy and also super fun as well.
I mean, we've got to think about as well that this is the first time we've seen VKS on the main stage. It could be main stage buff. They have been waiting for this moment to prove themselves in this main stage, and the draft is looking like they are here to prove it. They're like, yo, take the Zhongfei, take away some of our pocket picks, but we have something in our front pocket for you. And it's so far going okay for both of these teams. Yes, it is a very, very calm early game right now. We're seeing a few trades here to 0-0 from the Lady Sun as well. But that's going to be the thing, right? Lady Sun just making sure that itemization gets in place at the right time.
Oh, 100%. I totally agree. And I mean, for the side of VKS, they have just so many slows as well. You know, you have the slow from the Sunbin, you have the slow from the Lady Sun as well. Yep. You have Lady Shen that can also slow with her ultimate. So there's so many ways in which they can slow down the likes of the Dharma, the likes of the Luna that like to, you know, rotate around, that like to be super mobile. It's going to be quite difficult for Kagendra to try and, you know, make things work in this game. But they do have the Angela, which, as we saw earlier on today, Angela can be a very, very strong pick with just sitting in the bushes, trying to catch them off guard. But I feel like this time around, VKS have a really, really strong front line with that Rangju and also the High Nine.
Yeah, one thing I've just noticed on the common spell, so we see that they have taken 2 Purifies, so one on the Sunbin and one on the Lady Sun. I'm assuming that's because of the Dharma, so if they get crashed into the wall, they know that they're not going to be stuck there onto the Dharma. They can try and get out of there, but Movers could not get out of the attack from VKS, taking the first blood Mana on the Sunbin.
Yeah, really nice gank there as well from Danny, being able to get onto the back line there of Mufas. And with, you know, with Smite being picked up here for Zhongfei, can't really do too much to escape that one, unfortunately. And that's going to be a really nice first blood here for VKS to keep that momentum going so far in this early game. As you can see, they're trying to defend at the moment. You know, one is trying to defend the jungle for VKS, making sure that no sort of invades happen as well. And one thing that happened during the S2 Invitational, which I loved, is the Brazilian players on Lady Shen. As we can see, the play into the mid lane again, the bombs are not going to tick over and do too much damage. But a comment that I made during S2 Invitational is both Loops and VIVO KEYD, both their mid laners, like one, 2 of the best Lady Shen players I think I've ever seen, like even throughout even Malaysian teams as well. They play this hero like no other. They play it super aggressively. Sometimes you'll see them flash forward on Lady Shen to try and land the knockups, to try and land a huge amount of crowd control. So I won't be surprised if you see one trying to be the main setup for the team, even with the likes of Niap and Danny playing the tanks.
I mean, one was the FMVP of Season 1 as well, so it really just shows how good of a mid laner he is. But this has been a team roster that's been around for some time, and it's really showing here. Yes, they haven't had the best standing in EWC so far, but Danny is able to use the recall ultimate there on Heino to keep himself alive and keep him in this battle a little bit longer as the Tyrant comes up. But that is a double stun from the Dharma, but there is that Xiongyu push away that VKS are doing right here. That is a 2-0 trade right now for the Brazilian Titans. Yara Habibi, you better run!
Insane play there. The push away in the end from VKS. As you mentioned, that Guan Yu pick coming up absolutely huge here for VKS, making sure that you can get the extra damage in there as well. As we take a look back at the replay, because it was actually, at first, it was Kagendra the ones looking for the engage, but the counter engage was so good. You had the pushback, and then you had the second pushback towards the wall as well. So many ways in which Niap with this pick can create space for his team, which I think is going to be so crucial when you have the likes of Dharma and Luna, which at the moment just can't do enough damage to take down the members of VKS.
Absolutely. If you can kind of control where people can go, and if you can be in control of what that team fight's doing, that's probably the best situation you can be in, and that Xiongyu is able to do that as well. So Dharma really thinking he had the control in that first part of the team fight, and then Niap was like, nah, I'm coming in, baby. Coming in, pushing away, and they did get the T1 turret as well. So that was overall a fantastic fight for VKS, really showing that even though they took an L from Team Vitality, they're now 4 up to Kagendra, who's just beaten Vitality, and they've just taken the first Tyrant as well.
Tyrant secured here. You can see how this tank Heino pick can be so frustrating to deal with. Just going to use the ultimate to get away to safety. The CC immune as well. But Dharma, the ultimate against the wall again. One being completely caught off guard, but it is going to be traded back by Sesa on the Lady Sun. The extra slows in the end as well. You can see how annoying it is for Kagendra to jump away. The double kill, but as it is going to be traded back by 0-0. The shutdown gold going over to the long as well. And you're just seeing already in in these team fights, how annoying it is to play against this squad of VKS. As long as trying his best to try and defend off against the tower. He's got to try and go for the 1v2. Niab is super low on HP. The flash forward, the flash away. Angela, oh, it was so close in the end. Flash is going left, right, and center, but Niab survives on 1 HP.
Yep, Nielp pulling out the Hail Mary play just to save his life there. But I feel like that Lady Sun double kill, even though we got the shutdown there for a 0-0, I feel like that's going to be a great thing for Lady Sun to just pick up some more gold and just basically further that gap so far between 0-0 and Seiza. But again, we just saw that Kagendra was able to get the Overlord, so a 50-50 split in that early jungle phase is better than losing everything to VKS. Just got to make sure that they maintain this composure and tempo on the side of the Brazilian team, or else Kagendra are definitely going to exploit it if they do see a way in.
Yeah, for sure. You can see that they were just overstepping a little bit there, the trade kill back. I mean, yes, you are going to get the double kills. You're probably going to get more gold onto Lady Sun. But look here, you can see how annoying this high note pick is. This is a sort of high note that we was expecting to see, and something that we saw a lot in the S2 Invitational. Yes. This tank high note. This high note that can just dash forward and just be in your face, not doing too much damage because he is building tank, but just being super annoying and creating that space again for his team, the likes of Lady Shen and Lady Sun, being able to do enough damage in the end. But you can see the Juanju trying to do enough damage there, but not going to be able to push back the Luna just yet. She's going to be able to dash away for now.
Yeah, T2 looking to be traded here in the clash lane for that farm lane T2 here, but we are seeing Niab looking to give a save grace to his lane. It is Hans against Niab, a true 1v1, but we can see a little bit of a Brazilian rotation coming around here. There's that Zhuangyu ultimate coming through, but it just did not connect, enforcing that flash out of there for Hans.
Yeah, really nice flash there in the end, being able to escape there from the Zhuangyu knock up from the ultimates. But it's going to be able to keep that momentum going. They're going to try and push into this top lane at the moment and secure another tower for them. And that is 4 towers at the moment over to VIVO KEYD. They have full map control at the moment with this 3,000 gold lead. But as you mentioned, Kagendra is still not out of this game yet. This is still going to be a very close affair. And it really comes down to who are the carries that can keep themselves alive. Because I feel like both these teams have so many defensive mechanics to be able to, you know, CC, try and defend their carries, like the Sunbin trying to defend the Lady Sun with the extra movement speed, the Zhang Fei trying to defend along with the extra shielding. So it all comes down to who can protect their carry. Because for VIVO KEYD, Seiza has been the main carry for this squad for quite some time.
Absolutely. I mean, his performance in Season 2 was phenomenal. He was such an aggressive farm lane player, but it's also, I think it just must be within the Brazilians region because of Zerion Loops as well. He's a fantastic early player also. So it just goes to show that the Brazilian scene, even though they haven't done as great as we thought they would in EWC, but it could be down to the actual quality of the players of the other team, but also just the matchups. And obviously, as the game goes on, it seems like a little bit more of an easy matchup. One almost getting caught out there, but it was thanks to Sunbin just recalling that health onto the Lady Chen. And now we could have a 4v5 here in this mid lane, but a big push down into the farm lane. They need to clear that up before they try and take some fights, or at least try and take the Shadow Overlord, which they're trying to do now. And as you can see, Kagendra going for the Shadow Overlord. They want more priority in these lanes, Stu.
Yeah, for sure. Just the trading objectives, pretty standard at the moment at 10 minutes into the game. Really nice adaptation there for Kagendra, making sure that they at least get one of the objectives, because sometimes you can funnel onto that Tyrant a lot. We have been seeing other teams just fighting around the Tyrant and losing even though they took the Tyrant, which is something that Vitality did earlier today against Kagendra. So really nice adaptation here for Kagendra, making sure that, hey, we can't get the Tyrant, that's totally fine. Let's take the Shadow Overlord instead, and let's see if we can try and push one of these lanes. I don't think it has been used yet. It seems like it hasn't been used in any lane yet. So it's going to be curious to see what lane actually gets used on, and you'll see kind of rotations happen when that Shadow Vanguard gets spawned.
I think they're just probably going to wait till there's like a clear push. Like this lane. But okay, Dharma with a few dashes there, but it gets nullified thanks to Sunbin's healing capability. Seiza coming through with another kill. And that Tyrant, that Shadow Tyrant extra damage buff is huge into these team fights right now. So we see the Kagendra's forcing that Shadow Tyrant into that clash lane, because if they didn't, they would have lost another T2, which would have been crucial for them. But it looks like VIVO is looking to take a T2 from VKS in that farm lane. So a little bit of a trade here may happen across the map.
Yeah, you're seeing that Kagendra using that Shadow Overlord defensively rather than aggressively, knowing that they lost the trade. They still lose the tower, though, so even though they tried to use that Shadow Overlord defensively, tried to get that big, massive Vanguard into that lane to try and defend off that tier 2 tower, they still weren't able to in the end. But as you mentioned, Luna, Roa going to be able to take that tier 2 tower on the bottom side of the map. So Kagendra still getting trades across the map. This is not like a complete stomp or anything. There are ways in which Kagendra are trying to get back into this. They're trying to take some even trades across the board. They are just getting a little bit caught out at times as well. But in terms of the scaling of the two compositions as well, you know, when we get into the stage of the game, you know, we're kind of in the mid game going into the late game at the moment. What team would you say has like the better late game composition?
I mean, as long as they can get a Seiza online, I mean, so far it's working beautifully. They're feeding over all the buffs to him. He's got red buff and blue buff right now going for him. And then obviously having that strong front line from Niap and Danny. And then obviously one with that huge utility on the Lady Chen. Just being able to knock up, say, for example, if they can catch these trick shots onto the Dharma or the Luna, I think it's probably going to be a much bigger surprise here for VKS than it is Kagendra. But currently, going into that 30-minute mark, we could see a bit of a brawl here for that higher ground turret, and brawl is definitely what we're seeing. But Angela is able to try and push away those minions with all her abilities and was able to do so.
You look at the Luna as well. Again, Ruwa trying to split push, trying to push in that bottom side of the map. It looks like it's actually going to get the high ground tower as well. It's going to do enough damage. And VIVO KEYD just caught completely off guard. I'm not too sure if the minions are going to be doing it. Actually, I feel like he could have probably got that tower and escaped as well with the mobility that Luna had, but they didn't have any vision on the he didn't have any vision, sorry, on the rest of VKS. So he thought that VKS were all recalling back to base, didn't want to die as well, especially with these major objectives spawning. But you're seeing at the moment that Kagendra are doing really well at clearing waves. They have the likes of the Angela and the Long to be able to clear waves very effectively, which means that Luna can be on the opposite side of the map, try and split push down the bottom side, and you can see that it's only about 2 or 3 auto attacks away from being taken down. So really interesting idea, really interesting strategy here for Kagendra, and it's working out pretty decently so far.
Yeah, the split push, rather than using Luna as a clean-up mechanic within these team fights, because of the Niap and obviously Danny being such a strong front line, I think it's not quite viable. If she tries to go to that back line, we'll just see the Zhong Yu just come through and just clean him into the direction that he wants you to be in. But the Shadow Tyrant does go over to VKS once more time, Stu, and that does mean more damage buffs. We see Mufus looking pretty low as well, getting caught out by that Lady Chen ultimate, and then Dharma is just trying to stop this minion wave in the mid lane, but could be getting caught out here. He still has his flash if needs be. The Blazing Brilliance onto the back line as they try and chase the Dharma was a very good call from Kagendra.
You can see right now the extra mobility that VIVO KEYD have, being able to rotate so much quicker thanks to Sunbin's movement speeds. You also have the extra poke damage as well from the Sunbin, making it super annoying, and also the slows, making it super annoying for Kagendra to deal with. As you mentioned, again, Kagendra doing extremely well at defending their high ground towers. You can see that Niap went down to the bottom side to make sure that lane was pushed in. I think VIVO KEYD have to keep that in mind now, which is going to be something they have to worry about, I think, throughout the rest of this game.
Yes.
Is where is Luna on the map? And you can see straight away, look in the mini-map at the moment at your bottom side. Luna is going 1v1 at the moment against Zhang Yu. And this is a thing, right? Every single time the VKS step forward, they have to make sure that they have eyes of Ruwa. They have eyes on Luna, because every single time she's going to try and walk up and take the high ground tower.
Yeah, it does make her absent from these neutral objectives, though, so that could be crucial for them. But she is trying to play around the Zhang Yu. They're using it as bait here because they're currently going for a 4v4 under the Shadow Tyrant. They're not going to get it reset, so we do see VKS actually getting another clean neutral objective. But the Sage of Sanctuary baits Hans into the team fight. Hans goes down. Dharma is gone by, and there is Long getting wiped out by Lady Sun. That is a 2-0 trade. A Shadow Overlord over to the side of VKS. It's only a matter of time, Stu. Whilst they have that Shadow Vanguard, that's going to relieve that pressure in that bot lane.
The Resurrect was so huge there, the item being picked up there from Seiza, being able to survive that Dharma flash into the back line. That Resurrect was so huge, and then 0-0 tried his best to use his ultimate to try and get onto Lady Sun, but as soon as Long land, Lady Sun was like, boop, your head's gone, see you later. No worries there at all for Seiza. Again, having an incredible performance here on the Lady Sun, a pick that he has played multiple times in both HoK BR Season 2 as well, and has been an incredible pick. And now Kagendra, they're on the back foot. All high ground towers are being taken down, and the split push is no longer an option.
No longer an option, and we see that Luna's trying to keep that Shadow Vanguard away from that crystal. But I think it's probably best here for VKS to not try and be too aggressive. The Vanguards aren't quite around yet. They probably just need to just reformulate what they're going to be doing here. But that completely wipes out all those higher ground turrets now. So the only thing standing between VKS and their second victory within the EWC mid-season invitational is that crystal.
They're trying to step out outside of the base at the moment, as you can see, but every single time they step out the base now, they need to be careful that there's no sort of action happening at their crystal. As you mentioned, they're trying to get priority in this river. I mean, VKS has done so well so far, prioritize it, but Luna looking for the engage, and Seiza actually dropping extremely low. Luckily, he does have that Resurrect back up. Now the cooldown has come off, which means that the Resurrect is there. So if any of that burst damage does happen again, then Seiza can try and keep himself alive. But Kagendra, they really don't want to give away this Shadow Tyrants.
No, the Sage of Sanctuary just come back up onto Danny as well, just in time, as he's taken a lot of beatings from the side of Kagendra. But Seiza goes down. Lung is able to disengage. Luna has the Sage of Sanctuary. That gets procced again, but it's not going to be enough. Lady Jen gets the knock-up as well. So down goes the Luna. Down goes that macro play. You can see that fat blue minion wave in the farm lane as they're trying to push away and force them back into that crystal. We see Zero low, Hans is low. The only thing stopping them from taking that down is the Zhongfei, and that goes down. Mufus goes bye-bye. The minions are here. Is Dharma going to be able to clean up the minion wave, and does it so brilliantly? We just need to wait for a minion wave to come through, but is it going to be enough for Dharma and Angela to keep it off? No, it is only Angela alive, and she has not got the Blazing Brilliance on cooldown. Here we go.
Yep.
The victory, baby!
VIVO KEYD gonna be able to take down Kagendra. A huge victory for them to try and make it out of the group stage. That was their final game, and they do end the group stage at 2-3. And now it's the nervous wait for VIVO KEYD to see how the other games go in this group, to see if they need to play potential tiebreakers or they can make it through into the top 8 of this tournament. But that's the VIVO KEYD we're expecting to see. Obviously having a little bit of struggle, as we saw yesterday in the off-stream games, losing to Vitality. They did beat Impunity, but they did say it was a little bit rough in the end as well. But this is a big win for them to kind of end the group stage strong. But Kagendra, on the other hand, they still have one more game left in this.
VIVO KEYD stars were ready for the draft. They understood what they needed to have done. Their strategy was on point.
It is difficult, man. I'm not gonna lie. I don't feel like it was that much as a VKS victory, but it was a Kagendra loss. Every single time that they started the fight, they never actually won a big fight, and they allowed VKS just to take the victory.
Yeah, more of a force error here. Maybe we can go with that instead, right? You know, Isaac, you were talking a little bit more about the buffs. Maybe you want to share that with the audiences.
Oh, of course, man. Like, if you analyze the BP from Kagendra, the main focus is going to be on what VIVO can do on that Luna. And we know that Luna's extremely blue dependent. If VKS could keep an eye on when the buff was going to spawn, they could always just try to invade and just kind of slow down VIVO. Reason why VIVO decided, like, well, I cannot fight no more, I'm just gonna do the split push.
Yeah, but that's why VIVO KEYD stars, their strategy was on point, trying to limit that as much as possible.
Agree.
And of course, Danny was on point with the high note, just always up in front, being all that bait. And Senku, how many Blazing Brilliances were expended on Danny?
Yeah.
Too many to count, right? And they were counting on VIVO to have the new moon, but it only happened once in a blue moon.
And it is sad, man. It is very, very, very sad because I just feel like Kagendra came with the momentum, but in the moment that they needed to just give that strong punch, they were always missing.
Kind of hesitant. It didn't seem like they were making really plays that they knew that they were gonna make. Like they were gonna take over in certain team fights. They were playing very scared not to lose almost.
Yeah, but we have to highlight Nyap and Mena as well. Mena, earlier in day one, we were talking about, hey, he was very trigger happy with his skills. This time, he picked Sunbin, which is, go ahead, throw as many time lapses as you want, as long as you get the correct targets. And Nyap was there this
in that Season 2 Invitational, and this was pretty much the exact composition that Team Secret played to beat Kagendra in Season 2 Invitational. And Kagendra, you would have thought, would have learned about this situation and actually adapted, but in the end, Team Secret were just like, okay, let's just do the Chao Fuzi again, let's guarantee this win. And also that mid lane pick, Zhou Yu, the first time we're seeing it here at the EWC.
It was a good game just for us to be able to see that throw you, right? Because it is an option. We know that when we're playing the Tachi of Foods strat, like we want to have priority in cleaning the wave. But against that Shangguan was really, really hard.
Yeah, it was. I mean, if they didn't go for the Zhou Yu, they wouldn't have had any kind of wave clear. So having that was just going to be a secondary pressure other than the Chao and Futsu pick. And having that in your mid lane is definitely better to have than go for another assassin. And that's probably why they gave over the Shangguan.
I mean, you speak about wave clear on one side with the Zhou Yu. You look on the other side on Kagendra, there is zero wave clear at all. How are they supposed to defend against the Chao Fuzi in the split push in when they have no one? They have an assassin mid lane like the Shangguan. We know that these assassins in the mid lane can be a good pick, but against the Chao Fuzi, I feel like it's extremely difficult because you've got them split push in and you have no one to clear the wave, so the high ground towers just went so quickly.
It is really hard, man, because then you're actually thinking, if I cannot beat the strat, I'm actually trying to open a little bit of a crack somewhere. In one of these lanes, I need to have an advantage. That advantage never came.
No, I mean, it never came at all. There were times which Team Secret, I feel like, overextended a little bit. They got a few picks, Kagendra.